So this is Cami again, and here's my sheep heart. We're going to start with the anterior part of the heart, which is right here. I'm hoping I can point out everything properly. So the pericardium is the first part of it, which is just basically the outer layer that encloses the heart. Then you got the epicardium, which is another protective layer, which is below the pericardium. The base is attached to the aorta, so the base would be up here, in this area. Then you have the apex, which is the tip of the heart, and also the most inferior portion. So this is the apex down here. Then you have the right auricle, which receives and holds deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava, and the anterior cardiac veins. So the right auricle is up in this area. And then that brings me to the left auricle, which is this portion right here. Left auricle, and that's my thumb pointing to it. And the left auricle collects the blood and pumps it to the left ventricle. The right ventricle is responsible for pumping oxygen-depleted blood to the lungs. So the right ventricle would be... Actually, I need to turn it around. No, the right ventricle is inside. But it'd be... Sorry. In this area somewhere. Same with the left ventricle would be in this area somewhere. And the left ventricle receives oxygenated blood and pumps it through the aorta. The pulmonary trunk is it basically transmits oxygen-depleted, carbon dioxide-rich blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. So the pulmonary trunk is actually around this area. Then you have the superior vena cava, which, hold on. Superior vena cava returns deoxygenated blood from the systematic circulation to the right atrium. So the superior vena cava would be up in this area. It's really hard to point without the gloves. And the inferior vena cava is the large vein that carries deoxygenated blood from the lower and middle body into the right atrium. So that portion would be, like that vein would be around this area, which would be the inferior. So the tricuspid valve prevents the backflow of blood into the right atrium. And the tricuspid valve is inside, which I'll cut open shortly, would be around this area, like right above the right ventricle. And then from there you have the right atrium, which receives the oxygenated blood from the body through vena cava and pumps it to the right ventricle. So the right atrium is actually up in this area, and once I open it or cut it, I can show it a bit better, but it'll just be an opening. And the left atrium is just the same thing, but on this side, on the left side of the heart. And the left ventricle, or left atrium, excuse me. I forgot what it is. But I think that's it for the outer portion. Before I can... Oh, the pulmonary semilunar valve prevents the blood from flowing back into the left ventricle and keeps it moving towards the body. So the pulmonary semilunar valve is right above the tricuspid, or no, that bicuspid valve, which would be in this area. So the bicuspid would be in this area. And the bicuspid valve permits blood to flow only one way. Then you got the aortic semilunar valve, which is going to be above the tricuspid valve. Should be up here somewhere. And that is where the left ventricle pumps blood through. So it's the valve that gets pumped blood through it. So I'm going to stop the video so I can cut open the heart and continue with my presentation.